Hey guys, Chris here again, and today I want to forge one of the coolest chef knives I've ever built. And that includes a lot of forging, a lot of grinding, a lot of handwork, so let's get started. And I want to forge an integral chef knife out of Damascus. And for solid forge welds, I want to have a super clean steel. And I also have to cut the steel so I can stack it up. The steel is now clean, and now I want to stack it and weld it. So all the layers are now stacked, and now it is time for WeldWorks to weld up this billet. The billet is now welded up, and that means it is, well, shit. The billet is quite heavy. And it is now time for ForgeWorks to start the forge welding process. So the bar is now forged out, at least for the first forge weld. And now I want to let the bar cool down, and then I want to start with the restacking, so I have to clean up all the surfaces and then re-weld it and then put it back into the fire. So the billet is now cut and also cleaned up. And that means it's time for WeldWorks to weld up this billet again. The billet is now welded up again, and that means I can now light the forge again and start forge welding. So the billet is now cooled down, and I have more than plenty of material. And now I have to cut off one piece of the billet, and then I can start forging out the integral chef knife. So the billet is now ready to be forged, and I've also welded on a handle, because with my press it's really hard to get underneath it with some tongs, and therefore a handle makes life way easier. So I've now forged out the rough shape of the knife. It's still a little bit crude, but what I want to do now, before I'm going to forge out the closer shape, I want to actually try something out with my die grinder. So for those guys who know my content, and I've started with the new stripe pattern, and I actually want to try that on the steel, so we'll maybe get a kind of cool stripe pattern, and therefore I want to use my die grinder to get some stripes into the Damascus, like a rainbow, not a rainbow, like a raindrop Damascus, and then do some stripes in there, forge it flat, and hopefully we'll get a really cool pattern. So I've got the pattern now ground in, and I have to now forge out the final shape. The Damascus integral chef knife is now cooled down, and now I have to cut off this handle and then also start with the pre-shaping, and I have to do a lot of grinding. So I've got now the integral knife shaped up and squared up, especially on the bolster. And I've already scribed some lines because now I have to drill one hole for the tang, because I'm going to use some threaded piece for the tang. So what my plan is going to be is I have the bolster right here, and here is the blade. And my plan is going to be, I'm going to drill one hole down the center. So we have this one, and then I can cut some threads down here so I can screw in the tang that I need. But a rounded tang isn't the best option, because in the end the handle material could turn on itself, and there are two options that you can do so it doesn't turn. So the first option is you drill a second hole, and then you're going to insert a second pin, and then nothing can rotate. And the other option is going to be I'm going to cut the bolster like that, and then I'm going to grind all this material away, and we still have that threaded piece, and then the handle sits like that over here, and then it cannot turn on its axis. This option is a little bit more tricky because you have to fit up this one to the handle area, and the bolster has to be everything nice and square, but this looks much nicer, and therefore I want to try it out because I want to make it the most fanciest chef knife I've ever built so far. So, got a problem. This threaded piece is stuck in there. And the problem is, I only have these two shitty thread holding pieces, and both of them broke. So, I gotta figure out how to remove this threaded piece now. So all the pipe wrenches and everything didn't work out, and now I've welded up this bar of steel to this thread cutting piece, and hopefully I can twist it out with that. And yes guys, I am a professional knife maker. Stuff like that happens sometimes, and we just gotta find solutions to fix them. Let's give this a go. No! Fuck! Alright, let's try the clamp again. So I was successful, and the thread is now out the thread cutting piece. My camera died during taking this off, but I'm going to show you how I actually did it. So let's just think this is the thread cutting piece, and I put this one into the clamp, and then I took my pipe wrench, and then I put enough force onto it to twist it off, and now I can put in my new thread. Now that I have successfully removed the thread cutter, I want to now start with grinding in the rough shape, and then probably after the heat treatment I will refine the whole shape. So you do have now the rough shape, and now you can see how I want to have it, and later on I have to put the handle on. This will be a little bit tricky, but before I think about that, I have to heat treat the blade and also grind the blade. And this blade is forged, and I also want to normalize it, so we'll do 3 cycles of normalizing to relieve the blade from all the stresses, so we'll have the perfect heat treatment. The blade is now hardened and tempered. And now before I want to start grinding on the blade, I want to work on the handle and have everything done with the fit up. This is going to be quite challenging to get the same shape that I have here, just the negative into this wood block, but I will try my best to get the best fit up as possible. And as you can tell, the fitment is not straight, like rectangular, like I planned. Kind of messed it up just a little bit, but I still do really like it with the rounded bolts, and it's also something new that I've never tried before, so therefore I'm still really pleased with it. And now that the bolster and the handle is fit up, I can now start grinding the blade. So I've got now the Chefknife ground, and it is super duper thin, and I've also slimmed it down on the spine so we have a nice distal taper. So what my plan is now, I'm going to do a 320 grit finish on the blade, and after that is done, I'm going to glue up the handle so I can do the shaping of the handle and the final hand sanding all in combination, because I also have to hand sand the bolster, and then I don't scratch up the blade too much while working on the handle. The epoxy had now 24 hours to cure, and that means I can now start shaping the handle. The shaping of the handle on the belt grinder is now done. And now I can start with the hand sanding. So I've got the handle now hand sanded and also taped up so don't scratch anything up, because now I have to do one final step before the etching. Because now I have to finalize the hand sanding on the blade to a 600 grit finish, and then I can go into the ferrochloride etch. Alright, so the knife is now hand sanded, and I've also taped up the knife with some electrical tape, and I've also drawn around with some nail polish around the bolster, so we are just etching the steel. And speaking of the etching, it is now finally time to etch this blade. It is cleaned up, degreased, and now it is time to etch out the pattern and reveal also the pattern. Cowabunga it is. So the knife is now etched and it already looks amazing. And for the last step, I will need some orange juice. A really kind knife maker, Chris from Martin Huber Knives, told me that trick. You can use coffee, but you can also use orange juice. So why not give it a try? So we got the nice orange juice right here, and also the cleanup. And as you can see, there's no real contrast in it, and we should get the contrast back with the orange juice, so let's try that out. The Damascus Integral Chef Knife is now done, and I'm more than pleased. The pattern turned out really amazing, and I love the handle. I love the combination of a classic German style chef knife with that kind of Japanese style handle. It feels amazing, and this is a really high performing chef knife. And if you guys enjoyed that video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you got any kind of questions, just drop them down below, and we'll see us in the next one.